Each year, nearly 350 of the world's top off-road UTV race teams roar into Laughlin, Nevada, and battle head-to-head on one of the roughest and most challenging off-road race courses on the planet. They rip off the start line, row by row, side by side, and battle the torturous Mojave Desert's blistering heat and blinding dust for a chance to be crowned the world champion. The stacked field of off-road warriors includes 2 kids classes, 4 desert classes, and 4 short course classes, all vying for a chance to win hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and prizes, and one of 5 brand new 2018 Polaris RZR UTVs. Who took home the checkers and who was crowned a world champion? This is the 4th annual Polaris RZR UTV World Championship, powered by Monster Energy, right now on the World of X Games. In 2014, UTVUnderground.com founder Joey DiGiovanni and his partners, the Martelli Brothers, dreamt up and launched the first annual UTV World Championship. The goal was to attract the top UTV athletes from around the globe and give them a chance to compete on a world-class race course in front of a colossal audience for cash, prizes, fame, and glory. In 4 short years, the UTV World Championship has grown into the X Games of off-road racing, and it now draws the best racers and teams from all over the United States and beyond. This year, over 300 teams made the pilgrimage to Laughlin, Nevada to compete in the multi-day event, including Polaris factory racers Branden Sims, Seth Quintero, Brandon Schuler, Justin Lambert, Mitch Guthrie Jr., RJ and Ronnie Anderson, and Can-Am factory racers Dustin Jones and Phil Blurton. More and more celebrity racers have joined the grueling contest as well. Nitro Circus star Jolene Van Vute and actor Dax Shepard joined Jim Beaver from the Down and Dirty radio show in his Polaris RZR Star Car program this year, adding to the fun.
This is going to be a unique experience. There could be a waterfall in 20 yards. I have no idea. And there could be unicorns crossing. Not sure what's out there. But I kind of like that. The race ain't won in turn 1. I know that much.
This group of wild and determined off-road mavericks went to war during the Fox Shock Short Course Championship race and the ruthless Walker Evans Racing Desert Championship race. Meanwhile, nearly 70 kids came to battle it out at the Car 1 Fabrication Youth Race. This year marked the return of the Method Race Wheels Laughlin Leap, as well as the Tensor Tire Poker Run. The 3-day event was packed with race action and included the largest UTV festival on the planet. The UTV World Championship is held each year in beautiful Laughlin, Nevada, at the base of Spirit Mountain, just west of the glitz and glamour of the Laughlin Strip. The patchwork of scalding sand, impassable rock, and jagged cactus has become the ultimate battlefield for the sport's top athletes. For the Fox Shock Short Course Championship race, the field was set to battle for 3 16-mile laps for a total of 48 miles of hell. And for the Walker Evans Racing Desert Championship race, the racers would complete 9 treacherous laps for a total of nearly 150 miles. The Car 1 Fabrication Youth Race was a 30-minute timed competition that took place on the infield. The race format was simple. Those with the fastest times after factoring their start position would rise to the top and take home the gold. Saturday, April 7th, 8:30 a.m., the massive field of professional short course UTV racers began to line up and prepare for war. Short course off-road racing has been around for decades, and the side-by-side style of racing is a thrill for fans to watch. These cars run smaller gas tanks, feature just the driver, no co-driver, and are typically set up for massive jumps and fast turns. At the World Championship, they encounter a much rougher course, and they must contend with the same land rush style start as the desert race. They were spread into a total of 4 classes: Pro Production Turbo, Pro Production 1000, Production 900, and Production 700-800. The UTV World Championship races feature a dead-engine land rush start, which means each racer has to start their car, scream down the race course, and merge into turn 1 next to 10 or more other competitors in their row. Each row starts every 30 seconds, and they're tracked throughout the race to calculate their final time on course, referred to as their corrected time. This is the ultimate UTV sprint race. The seconds ticked down, the green flag fell, and they were off. The first row of racers tore off the start line, and it was Dustin Jones of S3 Power Sports who took the whole shot heading through turn 1. Jones dropped the pedal and pushed a full 2 car lengths out in front of the chase pack. In row 2, it was former UTV World Champion Branden Sims off the line first. Sims used an outside-inside move and edged out Quentin Daniels from Shreveport, Louisiana, who moved into second, followed by number 4515 Ryan Piplick. After suffering a slow start in row 2, 2017 Mint 400 champion Mitch Guthrie Jr. quickly caught up to the pack while exiting the infield. Guthrie is a seasoned racer, and he immediately began picking off cars in front of him. Number 4502 Brian Collingwood surged out front in the next row, but he had Jeremy Merrill, Phil Blurton, and Randy Romo on his tail. Seconds later, Ronnie Anderson came ripping off the start line in the number 4537 Polaris Turbo S, normally run by his older brother RJ. RJ was sidelined with the flu this year, an unfortunate turn of events for the defending world champion. Gray Ledbetter misjudged one of the infield turns and went tumbling on the outside of a berm. He was quickly flipped over and back in the race within a minute. Colby Wimple and Tyler Winbury made contact over the infield rollers as the pack of hungry racers jockeyed for position. Number 103, Polaris factory racer Seth Quintero executed a flawless start off the line next. He ripped ahead of the pack and at one point flew it up on 2 wheels. Row by row, the remaining pack of 100-plus racers tore off the start line, through the infield, and out into the desert. They were inches off each other's bumpers and began to press each other for room to pass. Mitchell Alsop of Cognito Motorsports let Dustin Henderson know he was ready to pass the old-fashioned way. Back up front, number 4507, factory Can-Am racer Dustin Jones was opening up a dangerously big lead. Dustin won the illustrious Mint 400 race in 2015, and since then has been steadily climbing the ranks with his team, S3 Power Sports. He was not a man you wanted walking away from the chase pack this early in the race. Former UTV World Champion, number 4536 Jacob Carver, remained up front just ahead of Zach Beavers. Meanwhile, Ronnie Anderson caught and passed Phil Blurton. Ronnie was looking fast in the brand new Polaris RZR Turbo S race car. Miles Cheek came roaring up the course in the Polaris RZR RS1 race car, normally driven by Ronnie Anderson. This marked the official debut of the RS1 single-seat platform at the World Championships. Miles Cheek was having a great race thus far, but minutes later made contact with number 119 George Hamill in his Yamaha YXZ. He was unhurt, but his race was finished. Up ahead, Ronnie Anderson started experiencing mechanical issues. There was carnage everywhere. Of the 100-plus cars that left the start line, over 20 had succumbed to mechanical issues already. As the race leaders came through the timing gate at the end of lap 1, Dustin Jones remained out front. Number 4530 Bailey Campbell made her way through the infield and out on her second lap. She was having a flawless day so far when suddenly, while in the thick dust, she missed a left-hand turn and flew off the course. She went tumbling end over end, And although she wasn't seriously hurt, her race day was ended. Up in the front, Dustin Jones continued to look smooth and poised. But behind him, former UTV world champion Branden Sims had passed Jones's teammate and was now trying to reel him in. Sims started on row 2, while Jones started on row 1. That meant that Jones needed to finish well ahead of Sims to win on corrected time. But in the end, Jones brought home the victory, followed by number 4513 Branden Sims and number 4539 Logan Brazina in third.
Man, what a feeling, dude. We were running against the fastest guys in the country, and it was like running from a pack of wolves. So we got the whole chart, which started on the first row, and I was a sheep running from wolves, and I was scared for my life. We pushed it hard. This Can-Am X3 did phenomenal, man, and I just tried to keep a pace where I wouldn't tear the car up and I could stay out front.
Back in the Production 1000 class, number 105 Shelby Anderson drove like a bat out of hell. She passed multiple vehicles on her last lap. Shelby took home the win, followed by number 118 Randall Nix and number 181 James Hill. Here's a look at all of the Fox Shock Short Course Championship winners. Since its debut in 2014, the UTV World Championship has attracted race teams from many different types of UTV racing, including the world of rock crawling. The father and son team of Guthrie Racing have been a dominant force in the sport for over a decade, and Mitchie won the UTV World Championship in 2016. This year, he achieved yet another milestone by winning the 2018 King of the Hammers race, giving him a huge boost in confidence as he prepared for the UTV World Championship.
It's been a wild ride the past couple of years. We've won a lot of races. Winning the Mint, winning World Championships, and winning the Baja 1000 have been huge. I don't even think it's really set in yet how much we've done as a team and how young I am.
Did you screw them all the way in? And then, then you turned them a certain way?
I turned them out the same way. They should be pretty close. I just eyed it though. My dad's been a huge role model for me my entire life, and having him as someone to teach me everything that he knows has been huge. And finally I'm at the point where I can do things on my own, but for the past 10 years I've been learning from him. All right, well these things are pretty much ready to load. Okay. So I grew up kind of following my dad around to races. He started doing rock crawling back in the day in a few different series and was really successful with that, and then eventually got out of that. I started racing, and then we got a Polaris RZR. Racing with Polaris RZR has been huge for me and my dad, just our relationship, because, you know, that's the two things that we have a passion for, and that's everything he's taught me is what I put into my career and what he has done his whole career. Racing is a huge part of it, but us being in the garage every day, elaborating on things and just working on the cars, wrenching, getting ready for races is huge father-son time, and that's where we have a ton of fun.
Having Mitch in the car with me for all the King of the Hammer races was the best racing I've ever been in my life. I mean, it was great having him right there. He was unbelievable. He was young, but he was strong, fast, good at what he was doing. We went up, we practiced, we made sure we had our stuff together and won. You know, it was great. I don't know if it'll ever be that good again, having your kid riding with you and winning. I mean, it just doesn't get any better.
It's a family thing. I'm working on his car, he's helping me out with mine. So we're a team, Guthrie Racing, and Polaris RZR's backed us for a long time, and you know, we're just one big family. When we both go out there, we both want each other to win, but obviously I want to win more.
For the fourth year in a row, the who's who of UTV desert racing began to line up and prepare for their epic 9-lap battle in Laughlin, Nevada. Because a record number of nearly 150 UTV desert racers turned out this year, the field was broken into 2 races. A morning race featuring the Production and Sportsman Desert Racers, and an afternoon race featuring the Turbo and Unlimited Racers. Walker Evans Racing sponsored both races. As the green flag dropped, number 1903 Seth Quintero tore off the start line and sped down the straightaway. Seth took the hole shot just ahead of number 1962 Dodge Pullman and number 1907 Mike DeLay from Menifee, California. The pack of hungry desert production racers ripped through the infield and minutes later began to head out into the desert. Meanwhile, back on the starting grid, row 2 left the start line, and it was number 1914 J.D. Marsh who surged out front in his Cageworks Polaris RZR. He was followed by number 1972 Ryan Pullman. Marsh retained his lead through the entire infield section with Pullman on his tail. Behind them was a massive chase pack that included Daniel Parker and Dean Wheeler Jr. The hunt was on. Row 3 took off, and number 1952, Jonathan McVeigh from Santan Valley, Arizona, took the hole shot. But number 1862, Gunnar Savage, made a pass in his Yamaha YXZ in the infield, and minutes later, led the third row chase pack out into the desert. Number 1929, Sam Chamos from St. George, Utah, took the hole shot on the fourth row, but he was being run down by number 1933, Steve Reichbosch. By the time the pack made it through the infield, Reichbosch was out in front. In the meantime, number 2955, Garrick Lastra, dusted row 5 and took the hole shot in the sportsman class. Minutes later, number 2956, Bo Judge of No Limit Race Development, came screaming through the final turn, heading out into the open desert in first place in class. The entire field of racers were now off the line and out in the open desert. The war was underway. The UTV World Championship kicks off each year with the Family Fun Poker Run.
So the poker run's a chance to get a sight lap on the course. Very rarely do your support crew, let's call it, or your friends, family that are making everything happen, get a chance to see the race. And so this gives them an opportunity to get out there, see the course, see what the drivers get to experience.
Participants also get a chance to win cash and prizes based on their poker hand at the end of the ride. Tensor Tires stepped up big time and sponsored the much-loved event. And living off-road legend Walker Evans was in attendance as well this year.
I cannot believe there's this many UTVs just here to do this event. I mean, especially if you can draw the right cards, of course. And there's a lot of money involved in this deal if you get the biggest, best hand. I'm looking forward to drawing some real good cards.
The poker run is an important part of the OHV community's effort to keep access open for recreational use at a time when many of these areas are increasingly being closed to the public.
A winner.
Almost.
Save our luck for Saturday's race.
This year also marked the return of the infamous Method Race Wheels Laughlin Leap, a long-distance jump contest that started back in the mid-90s.
This is a competition, guys. It's dangerous. Be careful. Send it.
31 competitors showed up in this single elimination contest. Mark Queen impressed the crowd early with his 106-foot jump, but was edged out minutes later by Larry Heidler with a 106.3-foot jump.
I'm literally here just for the Laughlin Leap. I'm just here to send it and go far as I can go.
Definitely gonna be some sibling rivalry tonight. He always sends in his X1K videos, so once I send it, I think he's gonna try to outsend me, and then I'm gonna try to outsend him. It's just gonna be a battle all the way to the finish.
Larry had the win in the bag when suddenly Cole Friday, a former moto racer, leapt an astounding 117.9 feet and won $10,000 in cash and prizes. Next up, it was time for the Groms to shine. The second annual UTV Underground Pit Crew Challenge was dedicated to the kids this year, and 12 different teams all battled head-to-head. The kids took turns using their Pro Eagle off-road jacks to change 2 tires as fast as possible. Side-by-side block, sandcraft, Method, and Pro Eagle were just a few of the generous companies that donated cash and prizes for the kids. Hailing from Oklahoma and Texas, the team of Blake Helms, Wyatt Hubanks, Izzy Hubanks, and Luke Collins took home the win. It was lap 1 of the Walker Evans Morning Desert Championship, and number 1903 Seth Quintero was off to a dominating start with clean air in front of him. Number 1907 Mike DeLay held down second place. Number 1962 Dodge Pullman, meanwhile, had J.D. Marsh on his tail, just outside his dust. Marsh waited patiently for the moment to make his move. He saw an opening and made the pass on Pullman. Minutes later, Quintero came through the infield first on his way out on lap 2. Number 1914 J.D. Marsh had moved ahead of number 1907 Mike DeLay and sat in second place. Ryan Pullman, meanwhile, had now worked his way into the mix and was closing on DeLay. Ryan caught Mike near race mile 3 and made a quick inside move. He was bucked off course violently, but managed to get back on course. Pullman would eventually make the pass and move into second physically. Pullman began closing in on the leader, Seth Quintero, and put the gas pedal down, ripping across the jagged Whoop's silty wash. Suddenly, Seth hit lap traffic and took an outside line. Pullman saw his opportunity and took the inside line to pass Quintero. It was short-lived though. Ryan experienced mechanical issues and was forced to pull over. Quintero moved back into first and continued to press ahead. Behind Quintero, it was number 1907 Mike DeLay in second place. Dodge Pullman held down third place in his Supercross.com Polaris RZR. The field of production and sportsman racers battled door to door through the dust and now searing heat. The morning's race had left the course chewed up, and it was beginning to take its toll already. Number 2953 Cody Bradbury was battling past the field of sportsman UTVs. There were 17 total on course. Meanwhile, number 1895 Caden Wells out of St. George, Utah was having a fantastic day. He sat in the top 5 near the end of lap 2. Back up front, Seth Quintero, a former UTV world champion, was on a mission to taste victory. But number 1907 Mike DeLay was still right outside Quintero's dust trail. Dodge Pullman, meanwhile, continued to press the pace. He sat in third behind DeLay. Number 2955 Garrick Lastra from Mesa, Arizona was having a flawless day and was out in front in the sportsman class. On the start of lap 4, Seth Quintero was first through the infield, with 1907 Mike DeLay right on his bumper. The two jockeyed for position before DeLay finally passed Seth on his right side. Seth tried to give chase, but was forced to pull over minutes later with mechanical issues. Not what the young racer planned. DeLay dropped the hammer in hopes of building on his new lead out front. Dodge Pullman, who had patiently waited for a shakeup with the leaders, passed a broken-down Quintero and moved into second physically. Meanwhile, number 1902, Jeff Obery, who started on the third row, was gaining ground on the lead pack. Back in the chase pack, Monster Energy's Cody Curry was holding nothing back. Curry was just behind number 2955 Garrick Lastra. Garrick was getting it done in his Can-Am, but it was number 2953 Cody Bradbury who remained on point and was now right in the dust of Lastra. On lap 5 of 9, when Mike DeLay came through, he had maintained his lead in the production class. However, number 1962 Dodge Pullman was battling lap traffic and gaining ground on him with every turn. With more than half of the race in the bag, Dodge was now ready to apply pressure. The 2018 Polaris RZR UTV World Championship on ABC, brought to you by Polaris RZR, Razor Sharp Performance, and Monster Energy, way more than an energy drink, and Fox Shocks, redefine ride dynamics, and Method Race Wheels, lighter, stronger, faster. It's lap 6 of 9 of the Walker Evans Desert Production and Sportsman Championship race. After leading for several laps early on, number 1907 Mike DeLay is forced to pit and in doing so relinquished the lead to number 1962 Dodge Pullman, who had been waiting patiently for his shot at the lead. At the UTV World Championship, there's no time to pit, change a flat, or make repairs and still take the win. But DeLay wasn't about to give up. Meanwhile, number 1902 Jeff Obering moved into third physically and was gaining ground on the pack. Back in Sportsman, number 2955 Lastra was still in the lead physically, but he had Cody Bradbury right on his tail. Cody was looking for a strong finish this year at Worlds. Number 2956 Bo Judge was having a great day when disaster struck. He lost a wheel and he would not return to the race. Cody Curry, racing for Monster Energy, stayed consistent and moved into third physically. Race leader Dodge Pullman continued to pull away from the chase pack. He would be nearly impossible to catch at this point. 1907 Mike DeLay pressed forward in second place, however, waiting for Dodge to make a mistake. Minutes later, number 2953 Cody Bradbury caught DeLay and passed him, moving into second overall physically. Bradbury wanted the overall win for the race. He was hungry. Number 1902 Jeff Obering came by in third place physically. Meanwhile, number 2955 Garrick Lastra remained in second in his class. Number 1962 Dodge Pullman rounded the final turn and boosted across the finish line first. Together with co-driver Luis Dominguez, he had pulled off an amazing victory. They had won the production class and taken the overall win over the entire field.
Yeah, so this is my first ever UTV World Championship race. For a couple of years I've been asking my dad if we can come do this, and this is the year, and to come out here and see all the spectators and see how tight the laps are, and we just battled hard. We tried to stay steady, not to overheat it too much, and it worked out well.
Cody Bradbury took home the victory in the sportsman class, missing out on the overall victory by a mere 8 seconds.
This is the first time I've been up here. I've had a little bit of bad luck at the last few, and glad to get it out of the way here. I raced short course right before I got in this class, and there I think I did decent, maybe top 5 there, and got the win here. So.
Here's a look at all of the Walker Evans Desert Championship production and sportsman winners. The UTV World Championship not only draws the best racers from around the world, it hosts the best kid athletes too. Each year, the youth compete on a modified version of the championship racecourse in their Polaris RZR 170s. This year, a record 68 kids showed up to battle in the 170cc and 250cc classes for the 4th annual Car 1 Fabrication Youth Race. The Groms lined up side by side, did the same land rush start as the big kids, and went door to door for 30 minutes in front of a crowd of thousands. In the 170 class, Kendall Hawks, Brody Akins, and Ethan Groom all jumped out early, but George Leomosis and Travis Sallee quickly moved out front. Meanwhile, up in the 250 class, it was Jackson Lambert, Caden Danbury, Jacob Peter, and Dallas Gonzales, all battling for position early on. Gonzales was the defending 2017 youth champion, and it showed. He dropped the pedal to the floor and pushed out front. Peter, Danbury, and Lambert all pushed hard, trying to make up ground on the former champ. As the minutes ticked off, the infield became a dusty battle zone. The parents watched and cheered as the kids drove their butts off around the racecourse. As the official timer ticked down and the kids raced across the finish line, it was Dallas Gonzales who finished first and won the Youth 250 class. Dallas became the first racer in history to be a back-to-back champion at the UTV World Championship. Jacob Peter took second by a mere 17 seconds, followed by Caden Danbury, who took home third. In the 170 class, it was Travis Sallee from Barstow, California, who took the checkers. George Leomosis took second, just ahead of Ethan Groom. In addition to cash and prizes from Car One Fabrication, Dallas Gonzales and Travis Sallee earned brand new 2018 Polaris RZR 170 machines from title sponsor Polaris Industries. Here's a look at all of the Car One Fabrication winners. Nearly 100 Desert Warriors lined up for the final race of the day, the Walker Evans Pro Turbo and Unlimited Desert Championship. The 70 competitors would battle for 9 treacherous laps across the now battered and chewed up racecourse. Actor Dax Shepard prepared to pilot the Polaris RZR Star Car in his first professional UTV race. Once again, race director Donald Jackson dropped the green flag, and the racers shot off the start line and into the technical infield. In row 1, it was number 910 Dan Fisher, followed closely by his teammate Derek Murray, and number 944 Phil Blurton. Number 905 Mark Burnett was in the mix next to Justin Lambert. Seconds later, in row 2, it was number 920 Pete Libby and number 994 Jason Merrill, who went door to door. But number 957 Christian Hall slid into second from the outside. Mike Siege and Randy Romo went toe-to-toe in row 3. Dax Shepard and Monster Energy's Matt Burrows were in the mix as well. Next up in row 4, it was Ryan Piplick out of Las Vegas on the inside versus number 970 Bryce Lamont. Bryce edged out Piplick coming out of turn 1. Number 988 Thomas Salvin punched through the pack on row 5, but he was flanked on the left by Dynamic Racing's Christine Giampioli Zonka and Keenan Rogerson on the right. On the 6th and final row, number 2939 Michael Issam from St. George, Utah, smoked the field and tore through turn 1 like a man possessed. Issam was back defending his World Championship title from 2017. Up ahead in the lead pack, the racers were already bumping and looking for ways to pass, but visibility was low on the dusty and dangerous course. Jason Murray had moved into the lead ahead of Dan Fisher. Then it was Mark Burnett, Justin Lambert, and Phil Blurton, all vying for position in a hail of rocks and dirt. Dustin Jones, meanwhile, the winner of the short course race from the morning, was just ahead of Randy Romo and the next wave of frantic drivers. Suddenly, a racer emerged from the dirt and began waving off the other racers. It was number 937 Alex Nicholas from Long Beach, California. He had tangled with another car in the thick dust and had gone tumbling down the course. Luckily, no one was injured. Defending Pro Turbo champion Phil Blurton, who had fallen behind in the infield, was now pressing forward again and picking off cars. He passed Justin Lambert near race mile 4 and looked fast. Minutes later, up in the lead, Jason Murray hit the Dirt Co Proving Grounds, a super rough section of the course that tested the suspensions of all the racers' cars. Number 931 Craig Scanlon was still in the mix and running strong. Back up front in the lead, number 917 Jason Murray was now being chased down by his Can-Am teammate and former UTV world champion Phil Blurton. Number 905 Mark Burnett was just outside Blurton's dust trail in third, followed closely by Mitch Guthrie Jr. and number 964 Ryan Holz. Both are factory Team Polaris racers and a major threat when on the dirt. Number 910 Dan Fisher was still in the mix as well, and Pete Libby and Justin Lambert were still vying for position in the chase pack. Up ahead, Phil Blurton had now passed Jason Murray and assumed the lead. The former world champ had passed multiple cars and taken control of the race in less than 16 miles. Murray remained on his tail, followed by Monster Energy's Mark Burnett. Mitch Guthrie Jr. remained in fourth, ahead of Ryan Holz, Dan Fisher, and Jacob Carver, who had emerged from the chase back in 7th place. Number 996, Vin Elstrom, number 920, Pete Libby, and number 931, Craig Scanlon, rounded out the top 10 as the field of racers barreled towards the end of lap 1. The UTV World Championship is much more than just a race. It's a full 3 days of off-road parties and events. And for the 4th year in a row, hundreds of vendors, parts manufacturers, race teams, and event sponsors gathered at the Riverside Hotel and Casino for the largest UTV Tech and Contingency Festival event in the sport's history. Thousands of off-road race fans showed up to see their favorite racers, get autographs, and buy UTV parts and accessories from the best companies in the business.
I just flew into Laughlin. This is the UTV World Championships. The UTV market is getting bigger and bigger every year. What makes the UTV so cool to race? I think that the competition is very, very close. So I feel this is a great feeder series to future motorsport racers. You look at what has happened with the trophy car thing, but I think the UTV thing is going to take these kids to the next level. A guy can go to his wife and say, "Hey, honey, I'd like to have this car. We'll go play on the weekends." But then again, with your new stock class, your rally class, you can actually take a production car and go race it, which is really cool for the consumer.
Title sponsor Polaris Industries was on hand, showcasing all their latest UTV models. And partners Monster Energy, Fox Shocks, Method Race Wheels, Tensor Tire, Assault Industries, Walker Evans Racings, and Rockford Fosgate were all there to greet UTV enthusiasts. Tim Shellman, the official MC of the event, was on the mic entertaining the fans and interviewing all of the racers. And technical director Corey Sampington carefully inspected every vehicle for safety. The entire UTV industry had shown up for the biggest event in the sport's history. The sport of UTV racing has evolved radically in the past 10 years. And with that evolution has come the attention by some of the living off-road legends like Rob McEachran. Rob has won more off-road championships in his career than almost any other professional racer. And he recently jumped into the UTV world by building his very own 2018 Polaris Turbo S RZR. Though Rob typically races 1,000 horsepower trophy trucks at breakneck speeds, he's fallen in love with the nimble and responsive Polaris platform. And who knows, he may just be the next big off-road star to join the UTV World Championship in 2019.
Hey, I'm Rob McEachran, and right here outside of Ensenada doing a breakdown of my 2017 Polaris RZR Turbo. I've been racing off-road cars, buggies, started in 1982, and race trophy trucks now, short courses, everything. And a couple years ago, I got myself a 16 Polaris RZR 4-seater, and we take the family out and just have such a good time in it. Obviously, being a race car guy, I wanted to go faster, and ended up getting a 2-seater and started to trick it out. Usually when I'm at the races, it's all business. We're here to pre-run, we're here to try to win the race. And what the RZRs has really enabled us to do as a family is to get together, to go out and go on the trails in Utah, Nevada, Arizona, all over the place. Making memories, honestly, is probably the best thing to say about it. Whenever I've made a partner, whether it's BF Goodrich since 1991, Fox Shock since about 2001, I really stick with it. I want to work with these people and try to make our relationship better, make the brand better, and be successful. And with that being said, Fox, they're continually pushing the envelope, and that's one thing that they've really done with the RZR, with the ride dynamics. To be able to choose your ride stiffness, let's say, and to be able to have the shocks actually adjust while you're driving it on their own is a pretty amazing thing. It really makes these vehicles go across the desert faster. It lets them go through the bumps. It lets them corner. And it's very impressive to me, and I'm blown away by the technology that Fox has put into these Polaris RZRs. So when we got this RZR, I started writing on a piece of paper what I wanted to do, what I wanted to have. So we went with Impact and went with our new Genesis hard shell seat on the inside, along with the 2-inch seat belts with the QRS latches in there. We added a Holz foot brake pedal. It's all billet aluminum, really nice, and the shifter handle. And also Impact has a nice steering wheel now with suede or leather covering. We went with all that stuff and a PCI radio with intercom, Bluetooth, so we can listen to music when we're out on the trail. Now you've heard all about my 2017 Polaris RZR Turbo, so let's go give it a drive and see what it can do.
The 2018 Polaris RZR UTV World Championship on ABC. Brought to you by Walker Evans Racing, the leader in race-proven shocks and wheels. And Dirtco, the original off-road lifestyle clothing brand. And Tensor Tire, tires that perform at the highest standard no matter the terrain. And Assault Industries, stake your claim. It's the second lap of the Walker Evans Unlimited and Pro Turbo Desert Championship, and number 944 Phil Blurton had taken a commanding lead already. He was nearly 1 minute ahead of teammate Jason Murray in the number 917 Can-Am. Behind them, Ryan Holz had managed to sneak past Mitch Guthrie Jr. Mark Burnett, meanwhile, who had been sitting in third place, was forced to pull over. Jacob Carver and number 910 Dan Fisher got past their stranded vehicle, but they were back in the race seconds later. Back up front, Phil Blurton continued to run strong ahead of Jason Murray, who sat in second place. After running a great first lap, the team of Scanlon Motorsports ran into mechanical issues on the infield. They broke an axle, and driver Craig Scanlon dashed across the course to his hot pit to retrieve parts. The two were having a rough race, but the word quit was simply not in their vocabulary. They fixed the damaged RZR and got back into the race. Minutes later, disaster struck, and this time, co-driver Keith Redstrom went racing for parts. It was just not their day. Number 915 Dax Shepard was looking good in the Polaris Star Car. He would run for several laps before handing it off to motocross legend Jolene Van Butte and team owner Jim Beaver. Meanwhile, former UTV World Champion and Mint 400 champ Branden Sims was moving steadily through the pack and applying pressure to the leaders. Branden picked off multiple vehicles in front of him over the course of several laps, driving clean and patiently. By lap 3, Sims had moved well into the top 10 in the turbo class. His experience on the rough and jagged racecourse was paying off. By lap 4, the chewed-up course was taking a toll on the entire field. After running a strong first half of their race, the team of Guthrie Racing sustained major mechanical damage to their machine, and they were forced to pull over and concede the race. Scanlon Motorsports was still having trouble as well. Branden Sims came flying by both teams, who were out of contention for the win. However, after leaving the infield on lap 5, Sims began to experience car problems as well. He too was forced to pull over to make repairs and lost over 40 minutes, putting him out of a top 10 finish this year. There was carnage everywhere. Number 964 Ryan Holz was experiencing problems and was pulled over as well. The brutal Laughlin racecourse was taking its toll. More than half of the field was now sidelined. 70 of the world's top UTV racers have been battling for over 100 miles, and less than half of them are still in the race during the Walker Evans Pro Turbo and Unlimited Championship. During lap 1, number 944 Phil Blurton took a commanding lead and remained out front in first place. 5 minutes behind Phil, in second place, it was number 964 Ryan Holz. Meanwhile, Dustin Jones, who had won the short course championship earlier in the day, was now in third place by less than a minute. Monster Energy's Matt Burrows and Polaris factory racer Jacob Carver were in hot pursuit of the leaders. But time was running out fast. The racers were averaging 20 minutes per lap, and the course was becoming more and more challenging as time went on. Number 965, Keenan Ryderson, suddenly emerged behind Ryan Holz and passed him near race mile 4. But it was short-lived. Holz mashed the gas in the Dirt Co. Proving Grounds and got past Ryderson again. Holz Racing Products make some of the best suspension parts on the planet, and it was showing. Number 996, Vin Elstrom, meanwhile, had been running a fantastic race all day, when suddenly he was bit by the course. His transmission failed, and he was forced to retire. On the final lap of the race, it was smooth sailing for number 944, Phil Blurton. Phil had managed to preserve his lead all day and avoid any mechanical issues. He would become only the second racer in history to win the UTV World Championship back-to-back in the Pro Turbo class.
It feels amazing, you know, coming into it. Last year we won on like a whim, literally didn't even think we had a chance to win, and then this year you're like, dude, I can't do it 2 years in a row, you know, and it feels awesome. I don't even think it's fully set in yet.
And he celebrated on the podium with his team and family from No Limit Race Development. Ryan Holz finished a very respectable second place in Pro Turbo. He and his father Mark had managed to overcome some mechanical gremlins and finish on the box. And Dustin Jones, a man who had already won the championship short course race early in the morning, came in third place. Jones had become the first racer in history to podium for both the short course and desert races. In the unlimited class, it was Brett Comiskey who took home the victory.
We were in limp mode the whole race. Couldn't get over 50 mile an hour. But in the rough stuff, that's where we were making the difference and we were passing everyone, so it definitely paid off. To come here and do this, amazing. I'm overwhelmed, yeah.
Yeah, you just won the UTV World Championship.
I know I did. I can't believe it, man. It was awesome.
Followed by Michael Ism in second and Randy Rasheen in third. Here's a look at all of the Walker Evans Desert Championship Turbo and Unlimited winners. The 4th annual Polaris RZR UTV World Championship, powered by Monster Energy, was a huge success. Every professional UTV racer in both desert, short course, and youth racing from around the globe came to compete in the event, and all of the major manufacturers and parts builders were in attendance as well. The Polaris RZR UTV World Championship, powered by Monster Energy, will return to Laughlin, Nevada in 2019. Don't miss your chance to win hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash and prizes and compete against the best UTV racers on earth. Or bring the entire family and join us for a weekend of riding and racing next to the beautiful Colorado River. For more information, visit UTVUnderground.com and follow us on Facebook for updates.